It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts, Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Welcome into another episode of Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That is Alan Saunders. And Alan, does it look awesome behind you? I know that we're boots on the ground ahead of tonight's game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Carolina Panthers. How we doing?
Doing good. Very smooth and easy drive into Charlotte. Got about halfway last night. Stopped in beautiful and scenic Beckley, West Virginia. Had myself a Tudor's biscuit, which if you know, you know, for breakfast this morning. Pulled in here bright and early, and then got a little delayed as we were trying to get on here. But yeah, hot and humid here, but nice. It was raining earlier. It's nice now, and beautiful city is Charlotte. Lots of greenery right behind me, right in downtown.
Yeah, if this was a regular season game, I really think I would have thought hard about making that trip. It's a place that I've always wanted to go to. So I don't know. Next time the Steelers play a regular season game there, I feel like that's going to be a spot that I want to go to. But we're going to talk about this preseason game. First and foremost, I just put out around the 412 our newest episode for this week and was getting absolutely flamed in the comments of the show about what I had to say about Cam Heyward, which is the same conversation that we had on here, and people saying that I was, making an excuse, being way too pro player in this situation. I kind of regurgitated something that you had said on there, in that I said I think it was more of a request more than a demand, and people were going at my throat about saying that because they're like, "Oh, he's not going to be holding in if it's a request." It obviously was a demand. So I feel like worth bringing up on here what your thought is about that. If we've heard anything different, I guess both in regard to Cam Heyward as well as Chris Boswell.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's back. So if it was really a demand, it clearly wasn't a demand that was ever any threat to be there was no threat to miss a game here ever. It was just Cam playing the few cards in the deck that a player has in the situation he's in. I can tell you with utmost certainty, no one in the Steelers organization is upset about Cam Heyward asking for more money. No one's mad at Cam Heyward. None of the players are mad about Cam Heyward. In fact, the players almost unanimously support Cam Heyward. TJ Watt, when at practice the other day, came over to the media and said, "Hey, 97 looks pretty good. I think we should pay him." The literal only people that are upset about this is the fans. And so even if you want to be the kind of fan that always wants to back the team and not the player in contract negotiations, I can tell you the team isn't mad, not even a little bit. So, that should kind of tell you what you need to know.
So does anything end up changing here for Cam or Chris Boswell to bring him into the situation as well? Does anything change here for them contractually?
I think there's a chance something happens with Boswell just because I think there would be some appetite from the team to extend his contract, even though it does have 2 years left, just because of how long you think he could be an elite kicker compared to how long you think Cam Heyward could be an elite defensive tackle. And also the fact that it has been a while since they negotiated that deal with Boswell, and he became this year an all-pro, something that he was not before. So while they're very similar situations in terms of the leverage the player has, I think the team is viewing them a little differently. I would be kind of surprised at this point if something changes before the season with Cam. They could kick him a couple bucks so that everyone kind of gets a win-win. That could happen, but I don't think it's going to be a large change. Boswell is different. Yeah. I think there's a possibility they could sign him to an extension and give him a new deal.
Okay. Before we get into stuff from tonight, I do want to throw something your way in terms of receiver stuff as well. I am so mad, Alan, that I did not bring this name up yesterday. It was 32 minutes into the show already, and I was like, I don't want to go off in a different direction. But then it comes out there today, potentially, that Alec Pierce could be a name as well that the team could be looking into. I tweeted yesterday. I was going through – actually, no, it was 2 days ago in regards to the player, but I was like, I think he makes a lot less sense for Indy going from Anthony Richardson to Daniel Jones. Like, I think just schematically, I'm not sure that he's a quarterback that's going to get a lot out of him, and it changes their offense a little bit on the last year of his contract. And I think it makes a lot of sense for what the Steelers would want to do. And then all of a sudden, more people talking about it today. So I wanted to get your thought on Alec Pierce as a player, if you feel like he could potentially fit what this team is looking for, and if it's realistic at all or not even worth bringing up.
I don't have any idea how realistic it is. The fact that no one in Indy is talking about this, and that's a team with a pretty solid press. I'm going to change the angle here because the sun is making me very shadowy.
I see that.
I'm going to find some shade instead of a bright sunlight. There we go. That's a team that's pretty well covered and pretty critically covered. And if no one there is talking about it, I'm kind of skeptical. Just like when you talk to people in Washington about Terry McLaurin, they're like, there's no effing way he's being traded. And you're like, great, thanks, good to know. So the fact that no one in Indy is talking about it has me a little skeptical of whether he actually is available. I don't know what Indy's doing. So, I mean, if Daniel Jones is only on a one-year deal. Do they think they're going to, like, fix him and turn him into the savior? It feels like a directionless franchise at the moment. Trading Alec Pierce would be a direction. It's possible that's a direction they could decide they want to go. I just don't really, it's different. It was like when I didn't think the Seahawks would trade DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
Until they traded Geno Smith, and then I was like, oh. Okay, never mind. Yeah, absolutely they can trade DK Metcalf, right? I don't see anything right now that would make me think they're going to, but we'll see. Great player, would be a perfect fit for the Steelers. Probably the name that's been brought up that I think is at least plausible that would be the best for the Steelers. I mean, he might even be a better fit than Romeo Doubs. He is really good for what they need.
No, I fully agree. I was thinking to myself too, just because I feel like this is a year where like Steichen and Ballard could potentially be trying to save their jobs, and they're going to try to squeeze every last drop out of this. Maybe it makes more sense to revisit this name at the trade deadline, depending on how Indy's doing. Also depending on what the Steelers do with their wide receiver room ahead of time. So I don't know, maybe circle back on that one. But okay, let's talk about this preseason finale a little bit. You put up your piece, obviously, at SteelersNow.com. People can go check that out in terms of what to watch for tonight. To be honest with you, Alan, I'm searching for what to watch for tonight as well. So maybe you can give me your thoughts and convince me what the watchability is of this preseason finale. We know who's not going to be playing, at least a couple of names. You said on here that you expect that list to be a little bit longer than just what we had already known. Any more clarity there in terms of that, or no? We still just know the same four in terms of the healthy guys.
Not expecting to see Ramsey and Slay. Not expecting to see Alex Highsmith. Not expecting to see basically most of the sort of name injured players. Nick Herbig. I do think we'll see guys like Pat Freiermuth, Jalen Warren, and so to me, the thing to watch for is the running game. We might see Isaac Seumalo for the first time this preseason.
Oh wow!
And that would kind of be the whole running game operation for the first time. Now, it won't be against Carolina starters, but I think it would ease some concerns if Jalen Warren goes off and rips off 3 18-yard runs and then you just put them on the bench and say, okay, never mind, we're good. We got this. And then let Caleb Johnson get a little run with the ones, which I think is possible if that scenario plays out. If Warren goes out there and struggles, he's going to keep playing. But if he goes out there and, like, breaks off 3 good ones, I think we could possibly see Caleb Johnson with the ones. But I think the running game is definitely something to watch here. And in general, when you look at Carolina, a team that has not been particularly good, that is not going to be playing its starters, one of the few areas where they have some functional depth is on the defensive line. Guys like Boogie Basham, Ashawn Robinson, the third-round pick, Princely, and I'm not even going to attempt his last name from Ole Miss.
Me either. But I know he DB has an interview with him on his channel.
Yeah.
Before he
so, like, to me, those are NFL players. Those are good. So those guys aren't starters. But unfortunately, Nick Scourton's hurt. He would be in that group also.
Yep.
But that's a unit that is going to provide at least some resistance. Wide receiver is probably the other one. Might see Joey Porter. Might see Deshaun Elliott. I might see Patrick Queen try to put together some of the coverage elements for the Steelers. I don't know that all those guys will play, but I think they're all at least possible to play. But yeah, I think the running game is first and foremost the one area I think you should look for. I think the second is, can Roman Wilson make this whole wide receiver conversation relevant? I mean, I think if he goes out there and puts up another, 100-yard game, scores a touchdown, something like that, I think there is a hope from the Steelers that he is able to grab that role. They're giving him the runway to do so. And if he does, I'm not saying that Roman Wilson getting 100 yards against the Carolina Panthers in the preseason is going to be the thing that puts that has Omar Khan putting his phone on Do Not Disturb. But I think it would be one more step in the right direction. And I think Roman needs all those steps to line up to get there. And of course, there's going to need to be some, I don't think under any circumstances, no matter how good Roman Wilson has been, if the Commanders are like, do you want Terry McLaurin for a seventh? Omar's not going to say no, right? But I mean, it refines the level of desperation. And I think you've seen with these deals that the Steelers have not made, Sky Moore traded, Devon Vella traded, John Mechie traded, that I don't think Omar is feeling super desperate right now as it is. I don't think he just needs anybody. I think he's looking for the right fit and the right talent. And so we'll see. But that's an area to me that's very interesting. And then if you get a couple good battles at the bottom of the roster, offensive line, Max Sharping, Andrews Pete, that offensive line has not been very good. Somebody could stand out. They could win themselves a job. And then the linebacker spot, man, Mark Robin, Carson Bruner. You tell a linebacker he's got to go kill somebody to win his job. There will be carnage afterwards. Now, I'm not saying that was said, but they know what's up. They know the stakes. So my guess is there's going to be some pads popping when 93 and 44 get in there, because that is literally one spot for two guys.
I want to come back to the Roman Wilson thing just because you said about fit, and this is looking for your opinion more than anything else here. I think the big thing for me is, one of my bold predictions this year was Roman Wilson's going to catch 40 balls. And regardless of where he's going to line up, I was throwing that prediction out there. But my question for you that I want your opinion on is whether he's going to be a contributor or not. The question that I have is he going to be able to stick on the outside? Can he play the Z? Is he going to survive out there?
I think Arthur Smith can do a lot to minimize his weakness in that area in terms of motions and tight splits. And I mean, this can kind of in some ways be an offense without a Z. I mean, you look at one play, the deep cross. I think it was the interception thrown by Mason Rudolph to Roman Wilson. You look at who's lined up where on that play. Kenny Gainwell and Darnell Washington are the outside receivers. And Scotty Miller and Brandon Johnson and Roman Wilson are all lined up inside. Now, if you say you have Scotty Miller, Roman Wilson, and Brandon Johnson in the game, you'd say, okay, Johnson's the X, one of Scotty and Roman is the Z, and one is the slot. But, really, they were all slots. There's lots of ways that you can do that. You can minimize how much it matters. I think the one area where you can't is when you get in a 2-minute drill and you get in obvious 11 personnel situations like 3rd and 10. Then you got to have somebody that can go not get pressed into oblivion. And I think we've seen Roman make some steps here in this preseason. I don't know that I've seen enough to say definitively, yes, he can at this point, but I think it's been more positive than negative so far.
And, the third point that you brought up there, some obviously roster battles that are taking place. How many guys do you realistically could win or lose a job in your mind tonight? Do you think a lot of those decisions are already made? Realistically, how many roster spots are we even talking about still at this juncture would be up for grabs?
Yeah, Robert Woods and Scotty Miller, probably not both, maybe neither. I guess theoretically, maybe both, but probably not. Andrews Pete, Max Sharping, definitely not both, maybe neither, maybe none. Maybe one, maybe none. The linebackers is clear. Logan Lee is sort of in a competition with, can he be good enough? I think he's clearly the 7th defensive lineman. Can he be good enough that they want to keep 7, that they don't want to risk putting him on waivers? And then I think, Beanie Bishop, James Pierre, Corey Trice. Obviously, I'm not expecting Trice to play. I feel like that one's kind of coming down to chalk. So those are, and then Skylar Thompson. Do they fire an IR return spot at Will Howard and decide they want to keep Skylar Thompson around? I think he is still in consideration for some kind of job with this team at this point. And certainly, if it's not with this team, I think he's played well enough that he deserves to be on a 53-man roster somewhere.
I was just going to ask, the other part of that to me is, other than just getting cut here.
Punter. I'm sorry, I forgot punter. But that
was going to bring that up into this part
into where you're going, yeah.
Yeah, whether it's on this roster or somewhere else, I was going to ask, but the next thing was going to be how many guys do you feel like are on this roster right now that aren't going to be on this roster but could potentially be somewhere else?
Yeah, one of the punters for sure. I think Trey Sermon could fall into that bucket.
You think any not to cut you off, but that kind of popped in my mind when you just said that, is any chance at all they keep 4 on the 53, 4 backs?
No, I don't see it.
Okay.
I don't see it. Especially not with how Nichols has played. You feel pretty good you can get him to the practice squad. You're thinking you're going to have Hurleman, who has some positional versatility, on the practice squad. Connor Heyward can play over there if you get injury situations in game. I don't think they feel like they need 4. I think Trey Sermon is somebody that could get poached. DeMarvin Leal is definitely someone that I think could get poached. Corey Trice is someone that I think could get poached if he doesn't make it.
Yeah, for sure. That's actually, it's a shame that he's not. What about Dante Kent? Are we going to see him tonight or no?
I don't know. I got to get out there to see warm-ups. He was going to try to give it a go. We'll see. I'm not optimistic based on his practice participation, but we'll see. They really wanted to see him. They're really disappointed that he got hurt. I think that could be an IR return spot for sure.
A lot of what you've said in terms of what you were looking forward to and stuff and what everybody should be watching was like group related. Are there certain individuals that stick out to you in terms of this game, or does it kind of fall into the same bucket because it's just down to the roster battles?
No, I think it just comes down. I want to see Derek Harmon and Caleb Johnson continue the growth. Like, everyone had really good feelings about them after the second preseason game because they took such a big step forward from the first week. Don't backslide. Leave us feeling at least as good, if not better, now in week 3. And I'd like to see Jack Sawyer make a step forward here. He's been someone I think has been pretty disappointing throughout the first 2 weeks. Maybe disappointing is too strong. Quiet, I'll say, through the first 2 weeks of the preseason. He's gotten a huge opportunity to make plays. I think it would do him some good to join those guys in terms of rookies that have made some progress in the preseason.
I was just going through some comments here from the YouTube, as we're recording. And my guy, the Facts Mob, he had to throw a joke in here. We obviously keep comparing, I bring up the Sawyer Aomanor decision every single episode. It seems like he said, Zach, if DK gets hurt, I think Omar's just going to tell Sawyer to go play.
They have similar builds, ironically, DK and Sawyer. Did you see our guy Ken from New Hampshire's comment yesterday? After I made the you got to find the comment from Ken from New Hampshire.
Oh, I literally just, here it is. From the desk of Ken in New Hampshire.
He wrote from the desk of Ken in New Hampshire as his comment. So
thanks for answering all my behind the curtain questions. Never had a platform like this to ask these questions. Logistics I've always wondered about. And then he said, get in the van. Yeah, not the best way for me to end the episode last night. But it's all right. We bounce back. Appreciate the comment, Ken.
If get in the van becomes a catchphrase, I'm okay with that.
Is that not what this podcast is supposed to be about? And I think that's why, people keep coming back. We love giving you guys a platform. It is crazy to me that this wasn't tapped into more earlier by somebody else. That's all I'll say.
All right.
Going through here more up. Here's a Brandon Johnson comment. I think Brandon Johnson needs a real chance to show out in this last preseason game. Do you think that there's a chance that he'll run with the ones based off who does not play?
He ran with the ones last week. So, yes, I think there's a very good chance Brandon Johnson is in the starting lineup. In fact, I would bet real cash American dollars on it happening.
Yeah, what'd they come out in? Like, what was the
was him,
alignment?
Scotty, and Roman.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's 100% what it's going to be. Again. And also Mark Collins said need to give Brandon Johnson a shot. Yeah, what's up with Brandon Johnson here?
Our audience loves him. Hey, he
listen,
scored a touchdown last week. I get it. He was good. I think he's more deserving of the attention than Rock Taylor was. I think he's been the better player all along. So there you go.
Do you have okay? Well, then I guess that's a good question. How did we get to the point that we were with Rock Taylor in terms of the fan pub?
I don't know. I don't know how these things happen. I can't control it.
Yeah. I want to get your opinion on something. The Cincinnati Bengals, Kansas City Chiefs, and the New Orleans Saints were the three teams that did not participate in any joint practices throughout training camp in the preseason here. Do you think that is more of a missed opportunity for teams than ones not playing in the preseason?
Well, I mean, I just think that's why Burrow and Mahomes are playing in the preseason. Like that. Like, you have to do one or the other. You don't have to do both, but you have to do one or the other. And if I was the Bengals and I had Joe Burrow with his injury history, I'd be trying to have a joint practice. So, yes. Mahomes, probably not the same. You know, whatever he wants to do, I don't care. He can take care of himself. He's mobile and has been healthy throughout his career. So, I'm not sure I'm not going to second guess Andy Reid also. Like, whatever you want to do, Andy, is probably the right idea. But I do think if I was the Bengals, I would rather do a joint practice than try to let people take shots. I mean, did you see what happened in the preseason game the other? I mean, he was just running for his life back there. Like, I don't know how that's helpful.
And in the Saints case, I don't know. They're trying to figure out who their starting quarterback is. Still haven't named one between Rattler and Shuck.
But needed to shell out a 4th-round pick for a number 3 wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
What a bad trade.
You know,
and I like
that's another name
a lot.
Yeah, that's another name I was thinking about bringing up on here, and would not have done it for a 4th-round pick.
No. And if you're the Saints, you won all your draft picks. That's a 3rd-round pick because they're going to be picking number 1. That's like the Bears trading for Chase Claypool right there.
Very, very much could be the first pick of day 3 in next year's draft.
Yeah,
that was traded there.
And they're gonna what they should be trying to tank so that they have the number 1 pick so that they can convince Arch to come out and play where Archie played. Yeah,
it's certainly one of the teams that I think actually has the ability to do so. Last thing here from Randy Tobias that I want to get to. Randy Tobias, great member of the audience here, said, Alan, how do you think joint practices will end up changing with the way that you see the preseason evolving to then be just guys on the bubble of making the roster?
Yeah, there'll be more of them, and they'll be more important to the team's development for the start of the season. They'll get more involved. But I think we will get to a point where almost every team has more than one of them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, Randy's not looking for my opinion on this. He said, Alan, how do you feel like?
Yeah. Doesn't care for you.
No, sorry. But I honestly, I don't know what else I could add there other than that.
Was a morning. That was a morning rush comment. The morning rush comment.
Yeah, you're right. I got to give Randy some slack there. I give people crap still, even when they comment on morning rushes, saying that. But you're right. I should cut him a little bit of slack. He's been a great member of the audience and everything like that. Alan, good stuff. A little bit shorter of an episode. We got to make sure that you are down there to watch warm-ups and see what's going on and can put out who we're going to see and stuff. But other than Bank of America Stadium tonight, tell the people they can find you.
Hey, Saunders _PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now is the site's account. SteelersNow.com. Go there, read the word, sign up for SN Plus, or you will miss my Notes from the Road column, which will be tomorrow at SteelersNow.com. And like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube platform. So help us grow this channel to a bigger and bigger audience, which you guys have done a phenomenal job of since the start of training camp. And it just keeps rolling over 16,500 subscribers.
Yeah, 16,505. It's a nice looking number. We want to continue to grow, though. 484 in the last 28 days on the YouTube channel, so appreciate it. And we do have another 5-star review on Apple Podcasts as well. We've talked a lot about the spelling of names here. Alan, we got a Jeff that is Geoff.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm all in on
Okay.
Geoff. But you got to call him Geoff if you're his buddy. Like, if we should call him Jeff, but I guarantee that guy's friends call him Geoff.
Probably, yeah. All right, so he says this was a long time ago. I think this was something I talked about in here, obviously. Said longtime member of the Steelers Afternoon Drive audience. Remember a while back, Smitty said that at one point he also hated the way that Alan Saunders carried himself on social media. I can definitely fall into that bucket. Started following him when I was 23, and it was probably more about me than it was about Alan, but he just came off very brash and know-it-all. Like, now I'm a huge fan, and he's just somebody that tells it how it is unbiasedly. Love the show.
There you go. There you go.
Thanks, Geoff. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Good man, G.
Anyways, stick around. There's going to be a lot more coverage, obviously, coming from the game and stuff like that. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell here. Leave us a 5-star review like Jeff, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. Just search Steelers Afternoon Drive. Do the same thing on TikTok. Then you'll find me everywhere, Zachary Smith, PGH. Alan Saunders and myself, thanks for jumping in. Take another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.